Hey, what's up, fam? It's been a long time. It's your boy Craig, and you already know now I am a real estate agent. And in today's video, what I want to talk to you about is really and truly something that's dear to my heart, and some of the things that I've been receiving feedback across social media in the last couple of days, where I feel like I need to come on here and just have a conversation with you guys and really break down some of the feelings that I have about what is going on with renting. Now, I know in a couple of videos that you have probably seen recently that renting has been a major thing that we've talked about over the last 2 years in the housing market. And a lot of those things that we discuss when it comes to the housing market, we've talked about how maybe buying is more of an opportunity for you. And even if you're a seller where listing your home is a thing that you should possibly still look at, because there's transactions that's going to take place as an agent and as a seller and a buyer, no matter what. People will get married, people move into different homes, people get transferred to different locations, people get divorced. A lot of things happen. But one of the major things that I've seen lately is a lot of feedback and a lot of blowback about renting. Okay. And what do I mean? Well, let's start with the article that I actually put out last week, earlier in the week. Well, we basically talked about the rental market was asking rents post small increase in 15 months in November by Redfin. In this article, what we actually saw was that in the landscape, rents have now increased by 7.4% within the last year, from the beginning of 2020, at the end of 2021, to where we're at now in the midst of 2022, now making the median average price of a rental home, whether that's actually single family home that you're renting or an apartment building that you're renting from or a condo or whatever, $2,007. That's a lot of money that to be paying in rental income. Now, let's get it not mistaken, where I know people have questions on. There's a lot of things that goes into buying a home and home ownership, and there's a lot of convenience being in a rental home as well. And I'm not here to defend either or of the circumstances. I do believe that there's an opportunity available where you could actually make in a change in your family tree and generational wealth and dynamics of the growth of your family by actually home ownership. But I also see where the time in need and convenience of actually being a renter makes the most sense. I understand that because I have done it for a while as well too in my early 20s, and then I come to realize how much of a mistake that was waiting so long to actually change the situation. Well, I understand that people dynamics and credit history sometimes does not make it a possibility for this to be a thing. But what I really want to break down for you today in this video is how you should understand the likelihood of how lower of an income that you're actually giving yourself in building your wealth over time when it comes to renting. But let's talk about some of the positivity about renting in the first place. Renting is obviously a good thing in my opinion, and only in my opinion, when one of you're first getting married, because it gives you the opportunity to live with someone and understand the dynamics of your finances together and grow that finances to actually put you in a nice family starter home or whatnot. But sometimes there's some things that need to be built upon, and understanding financial leverages between each other. And when you're first getting married, is a dynamic that I believe can help you grow and foster something even more beautiful when you actually move into a home at that point in time. So I believe being doing that is one of those things. If you are actually just graduating college, going to try to buy a home right away, it's not something that I would want to actually do either. I would want to actually try to save up more income to actually be in a better position to start off in a home at a later year. So renting for 12 to 18 months or 24 months has some positive things to it. It actually shows you what do you really want in a home. It shows you how much home do I really want to have, how much upkeep did I want to do, and being debt free is another thing that goes with that. So to me, those are all things that you want to pay attention to as you are looking into maybe the possibility of not being a homeowner. But renting beyond 2 to 3 years is something where I think that I cannot get on board with. And that's just my belief. That's not anything saying that is wrong with it. It's just saying that I don't see the value in beyond 2 to 3 years of actually doing it. Now, some people income is not increasing over these years. And if that's the case, you have to kind of look at it in a situation where maybe you need to find and leverage something else of your capabilities, or maybe it's time to find a new job to increase your income or bring in additional income through a side hustle or things of that nature. Now, I know that that seems like I'm actually preaching to the choir or anything of that sort, but I'm really not. What I really want to do is like break this down for you in a sense where I understand where you're coming from. And when people tell me, hey, you're not thinking about what happens, something goes wrong with the roof. What happens I get into this and now I can't afford the electricity bill, the water bill, and things of the sort? Well, to me, that means that you have to kind of understand the affordability factor. And one of the things that we're going to do a lot more on this show is talk to lenders, understand what it is as a future home buyer, or consumer, what that really looks like. Because you don't necessarily, because you can apply your credit and you can actually get this nice lump sum of money to actually go out and purchase a home, does not mean that you necessarily need to use that whole entire value. What you need to understand when you're working with a lender, in my opinion, is how much home do you really want to afford? How much of your income do you want to dedicate to actually pumping into a mortgage? And really and truly, your first home does not necessarily have to mean it's going to be your last home. It can just be some that actually transitions you from point A to point B, until when you see the value of your income grow, you can actually see the mortgage that you actually take on start to become a lot less. And that may mean that you can actually move into a bigger home with a smaller, with an equitable mortgage that's pretty much on the same par as the previous home that you had. These are things that you just have to look at and understand. So to me, the soonest that you can get into a home, you can actually start to grow your wealth. And that's why I think that people are in the mindset that it's okay for me to rent, but that's going to leave you broke. I think that. Okay. And I believe that certain cases, that there may be certain instances where you have a certain amount of income where it will not leave you broke. But I do believe that growing your wealth is something that is going to be one of the main things through a purchase of real estate. So when I hear people say, okay, I'm spending $2,000 on this mortgage or on this rent. Let's keep it in comparison. You're spending $2,000 on rent. Now that leaves me with the situation where I have to pay just the water bill, the electric bill, and anything else I want to do to furnish that rental property. Okay, that's fine. But what do you get back in equity out of that? That is the question that I leave you with. What do you get back in equity? Because really and truly, you're not going to get any equity. And let's just look at some of these things in this article where I wanted to actually point out exactly where I'm looking at this from a standpoint of. Okay, so like let's look at where we're at now. You'll see that the annual growth rate slows to 7% in November, right on this chart. We've seen this growth be exponential. So look at 2020. Look at 2020. We started down here, we got up to about 7.5%. Then we lower down again, but then we saw this big takeoff in rent, up over 15% during this time. And with that happening, can you imagine that you think rent are going to continue to slide? I don't think so. Now, the reason why rents are being impacted a lot more right now is due to the fact that inventory is not actually being boosted yet. We're about in the state of Virginia, right? In the state of Virginia where I live, we are about 2.5 months of supply and inventory on the market right now. Okay. When you think about that, you got to think about that in the sense of a lot of the hallmarks, more metro areas are going to have some type of a similar inventory. So with that, you got to understand that until we start to see the home builders actually increasing inventory, we're going to see rents stabilize at a level where people are not going to want to afford it. Now, I know a lot of people say that, the way the Fed has increased interest rates has left it to where the middle class really can't afford homes at this point in time. And I can understand the sentiment and I can even sympathize with that sentiment a little bit here. But really and truly, being on a fixed rated income, a fixed rated piece of debt that you have that's going to help you generate equity later on is way better than understanding what is going on in the rental market. As a matter of fact, we are seeing homeowners take the moments to say, you know what? If I'm renting this property out and I don't have a tenant right now, I will afford to have that house empty for 60, 90 days to find the right tenant who's going to afford the demand of rent that that homeowner who actually is making them what offering a rental property up for is those people are going to buy it. They're going to find a consumer. They're going to find a tenant who's going to afford that high wage rent that they're going to have to pay. So, I mean, I just wanted to come on because I really wanted to take the time out to kind of talk about this a little bit in detail because I've seen comments where people I don't think understand the full brunt of what we're looking at in the next year or so. So we go into 2023, you got to think about this. How much more rent is going to go up? Is it going to continue to slow? If it goes up another 5%, you're still going to see that median asking price go up when it comes to rent. Now, what I think is going to happen too in our favor, which can be somewhat of a hidden blessing in disguise, is that if the CPI data continues to trend the way that it's trending and the Fed starts to continue to see what they're seeing, and they think that tapering of a soft landing is still going to happen, and we start to see a lot more quarter of a percent Fed fund federal hike rates to up to 5.1%, you could see more inventory start to come back into the market. What I mean by that is that you'll start to see people are saying, okay, I can take a deep breath. The Fed is not taking us to 10%. The Fed is not going to take us to 12%. I can maybe possibly understand a way that I can actually afford the price of a home at this point. It may not be in the home value price that you wanted it to in early 2020 or late 2021 or even hell early 2022, but you still can afford something. And I think that's where we're starting to look towards, is where the Fed may end up landing this plane at, to where they may have this under control. And we won't see the market really stabilize because this is a lagging indicator now. We won't see the market stabilize until about 2025, okay, on where we're coming from when it comes to inflation at this point. But what I do see happening is if that's the continual case, we could see a stabilization of rents where they stay around this level, and they may start to soften a bit if we start to see more available inventory come on the market in affordable housing. Now, if that happens, rent will subside a bit. Rent will become less costly, and that could give you a little bit more room to actually save more income. I think that you got to pay attention, and this is where it's easier to get a buyer's consult if you haven't already. Get a buyer's consult and understand what it is that you can actually afford now. And it doesn't mean that you have to go and commit to anything today. What it means is that it gives you the opportunity to understand mental clarity on where you are going in the future. Where do you want to be at in the future? And what agent can actually help get you there? Because advocating for a buyer, for their client, is one of the things that agents have to do. And when they take on the commitment of helping and assisting someone who's looking in the market for a home and actually finding somewhere that's reasonable for you to stay, somewhere that you would like to actually be at, there's a lot of things that a lot of people can help you with. So comment down below for me. This is what I want. Comment down below for me. What is your take on what rent is going to look like in 2023? And do you think rent is actually the better way to go right now versus purchasing a home? Okay. Like I got on here and I kind of spazzed a little bit just to kind of get some of the stuff that I've heard off my brain. But I really want you to think about this in a sense of there's a lot of data out there that can lead you astray. There was a lot of data out there that actually talked about how you could more than likely see an opportunity where the Fed can actually have to see the interest rate go up to 12, 13%. Are we there yet? I don't think so. I don't think we're ever going to go there. I think what we saw was a trend that could have happened, but I think we're starting to see that taper off. So I look forward to seeing your comments down there. I'm down in the chat any time of the day with you guys, and I appreciate it. Hey, definitely if you found value in this content, go ahead and hit that like button and definitely subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next video. Y'all stay safe. Peace.